And then finding your space on your mat, finding stillness for a moment. And starting with that passive observation. So just taking a moment to check in with yourself at the end of your day. What are you feeling in the body at the end of your day? Is there anywhere that feels tight or restricted? Paying maybe some special attention to the thoracic spine, in behind the shoulders, the upper back, the space around the rib cage. And just noticing any sensation here. Also noticing anywhere that feels really good this evening. Anywhere that your breath goes easily into the body. Notice any noise that your mind is creating. So any of those thoughts that keep reoccurring that distract you from being here and being present and finding relaxation on your mat. Make a note that they're there, but then start to let them go. Practice observing these thoughts just as you observe your body and your breath. And then taking your focus to your breath. For a moment, just noticing where the breath is right now. Where your breath is at the end of your day. Where do you feel your breath in your body? Where does it go easily? Where does it feel more restricted? Where is it getting stuck? Relax the bottom jaw a little bit more. Let the abdomen soften. And now as you inhale, start to draw the breath towards the bottom of the ribs and also wide today into the ribs. Feel the expansion in the rib cage as you breathe in. And as you breathe out slowly and deeply, release the breath. Letting the shoulders drop a little bit more away from the ears. Letting the muscles down the spine relax. As you inhale, stretching from the inside. So use the breath to stretch all those tight spaces in behind the shoulders, in and around the ribs. Anywhere else along the spine you feel stuck. Use the breath to lengthen and create space and to stretch from the inside. And as you exhale, deeply release, letting go a little bit more. So our breath is both active and relaxing. We have this space being created on the inhale, this stretch from the inside happening as we breathe in. And as we exhale, we're activating that rest and digest, all those hormones that let us release. Fully complete the exhale, and then take a nice full deep breath in. Again, taking that breath into any space that feels stuck, in and around the ribs, creating a sense of expansion and stretch from the inside. And exhaling, releasing. Keep those inhales active so that we keep our awareness present on our mat. And consciously and mindfully release the exhales. As you exhale today, begin to let go of anything that's holding you back from relaxing here this evening. Anything that no longer serves you. As you inhale, create space for more positive self-talk. Open the heart, create space in the heart So as you exhale, let go of things that no longer serve you. As you inhale, create space for new things that do. We'll take just 2 more breaths here, focusing on developing this breath for the rest of our practice. And then after your next exhale, you can come back to your own breath for a moment. Begin to gently move the fingers and the toes. Move the hands and the feet. Maybe move the jaw around. When you're ready, you can start to bend the knees. And any little bit of moving that you feel like you need to do here at the beginning. Maybe some windshield wipers with the knees side to side. Maybe you want to hug one or both knees into the chest. Maybe you just want to give the hips a little wiggle. Anything that you feel the body is asking for. Any little bit of moving. When you're ready, you can roll over to one side. Pause there for just a moment. Rest your head on your bottom arm. Knees in towards the chest. And then coming up safely for the lower back. We want to use that top hand to press into the floor, come up through the side body. So we're not rolling through the vertebrae. So our first pose, we're going to do supported bound angle pose or Baddha Konasana. We want to use our bolster lengthwise. We're going to set it up at the back of the hips. You can use wood blocks or foam blocks underneath the thighs as you bring the bottom of the feet together and the knees wide. And if you feel like that's not enough support with just the foam blocks, you can grab 2 more foam blocks if you want a little bit softer crop, or you can use the wood blocks and you can change the height of the wood blocks too. So if you need them to be up higher to support the legs, you can do that. You can also use a block underneath the head, so we'll be reclining back down over our bolster. So if you feel like you need a little bit more height, you can use a block underneath the head. So the most work in this class is setting up the poses. So take a moment. If anybody needs any extra props, I can also grab more props. You want wood blocks? If you're familiar with using the strap around the legs, you can also do that to support the pelvis and the hips. So bottom of the feet together, knees wide. If for any reason that isn't comfortable, you can adjust the legs, of course. We want to find a space where the body can relax into the props. So take a moment to set up. Find where that space is for you. And then get comfortable there. Yep. Just whenever you're ready, lay back. Adjust your props underneath you. Do a little bit of scooching to get comfortable. Remember to come out or adjust the pose. If you feel like you can't quite just release into it, which is where we want to be, then we need to adjust. Right? Because we don't want to be working to hold this. We want to feel a little bit of sensation, because then we're not doing anything. But we don't want to be working so much that we're getting uncomfortable and we're starting to hold the abdomen in, clench the jaw, starting to retain the breath. So a little bit of sensation, but a place where we can let go and release. And then once you feel like you're in that place, coming back to that breath, using those inhales to stretch and open the heart, the upper back, the shoulders, maybe even the back of the neck. Anywhere else you feel tight, take it all the way down the spine, into the hips. And as you exhale, try to relax a little bit more, release a little bit more. Let gravity take over. So your inhales are still active, and you're mindfully letting go on those exhales. I even welcome you to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Sometimes that just helps to let go a little bit more when we exhale out of the mouth and let that bottom jaw drop away with the breath. And also taking the breath wide today. So as you inhale, breathing into the sides of the ribs as well as the heart. You can let the eyes close or just soften your gaze. We'll take about 6 more cycles of breath here, depending on the length of your breath. You're welcome to take as many extra breaths here as you need. When you're ready to come out, if you have a strap around the legs, you can loosen off the strap. You can start to take the hands towards the thighs and use the hands to gently draw the knees towards each other. And then any props beside you, you can move out of the way, so move your blocks out of the way. And you can roll over to one side again. Pause there for a moment. You can rest your head on your bolster or that bottom arm coming right off the bolster. Take your time to come in and out of these poses because we're not doing a whole lot of poses. There's no rush. And once again, when you're ready, using that top hand to come up through the side body, bring yourself back up and we'll set up for our second pose. So we're going to use our bolster, and if your bolster is too much, if it creates too much extension in the side body here, you're welcome to use a rolled up blanket as well. We're going to turn the bolster so it is horizontal across the mat. And you can use blocks for the head, or you can use your bottom arm. We're just going to come down and lie on our side body. So you're going to bring the bolster underneath the armpit and then rest the head either on your arm or your blocks. You can let the knees bend. Just adjust the legs so that they're comfortable. So we just have a little bit of opening in that thoracic spine and the side body. And you're going to breathe a little bit more deeply into whichever ribs are on top. Using those inhales now to stretch those intercostal muscles in between the ribs on that top side. So our inhale is still active, still using that breath to stretch from the inside. And then starting to let go again on those exhales. Letting all those breathing muscles relax. And again, we'll take about 6 more cycles of breath. And anytime you become distracted again from this space on your mat, remind yourself to come back to the breath. If you need to, close the eyes. Just take that awareness inward. Acknowledge if those little thoughts drift into your mind, and then just let them drift back out. Come back to the breath. We have about 2 more cycles of breath here. And if you need a couple of extra breaths on this side, feel free to take those couple more breaths, and then when you're ready, top hand to the bolster or the floor in front of you, and slowly bring yourself up. Again, there's no rush, take your time, and then you can just roll over to the second side. Hugging that bolster underneath the armpit, finding a comfortable position for the head. Adjusting the legs if you need to. And then breathing a little bit deeper and a little bit wider into those top ribs, into that top lung. Using that inhale to stretch, to create space. Using your exhale to let go. Focusing on each cycle of breath and being aware of where that breath is going. Feeling that stretch each time you breathe. Opening laterally through that thoracic spine, that upper back. And 6 more cycles of breath. 1 or 2 more breaths here. And if you feel like you need an extra breath or 2, take it. Taking your time, top hand to the bolster or the floor in front of you whenever you're ready. There's no rush. Slowly find your way back up. And then we'll move all of our props off of our mat. Now opening the back of the heart. You can either do this seated or lying down. If you want to lie down, we're just going to cross the right arm on top of the left. Give yourself a nice big hug. You can also do this in a seated position if you want to sit cross-legged. You can sit on your bolster or your blocks. Right arm on top of the left. And give yourself a nice big hug. Doesn't matter really which arm you do first. We're going to do both sides, so don't worry too much. So our eagle arms, this is our first variation. Just giving yourself a nice big hug. You can drop the chin towards the chest a little bit. Really open the back of the shoulder blades away from the spine. Option 2, crossing as high at the elbows as you can. You can take the backs of the hands towards each other or wrap the palms around for each other. So again, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. The sensation is just opening the upper back, the back of the heart. So the hands are on the shoulders, the hands are palms back to back or palms towards each other. You can even use your strap if you want to hold on to 2 sides of the strap. And then taking those inhales in between the shoulder blades, really opening that upper back. As you exhale, you can let those shoulders relax. As you inhale, stretching that upper back, opening the back of the heart. And your exhale is releasing. And we'll take 6 more breaths here. And you can soften your gaze or let the eyes close. About 4 more breaths. The inhale and exhale count as 1 count. And when you're ready, on your inhale, slowly unwinding the arms. You can stretch them out wide first, and then let the shoulders roll down the back. If you want to do a couple of shoulder shrugs or some shoulder rolls, just to let that release. And any other little bit of wiggling before the second side. And then we'll take the left arm on top or whichever arm you didn't do. So again, option 1 is just to give yourself a nice big hug. Rounding the upper back a little bit, shoulders away from the spine. Option 2 is crossing as high as you can at the elbows. Maybe backs of the hands come towards each other. They don't have to touch. Maybe the palms come towards each other. Wherever you need to be to feel that opening in the upper back. Inhaling, creating space in the back of the heart. Exhaling to let all of those muscles relax. Find your piece of breath, and then count 6 more breaths. If you find that this side is a little bit tighter, you're welcome to stay here for 1 or 2 more breaths. If you feel like the first side was tighter, you can always uncross and go back to that first side for 1 or 2 breaths. Or when you're just ready to release, you can inhale, open those arms. Exhale, release the shoulders, roll them out. If you're lying down, coming onto one side again, and then using that top hand to slowly bring yourself up, we'll all come onto our hands and knees. Finding our tabletop position. If the knees are sensitive, you can double up your mat or use your foam blocks under your knees. We're just going to do a couple of cat-cows, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Starting in a neutral position, so the spine is long, we're looking down towards the center of the mat. We're going to start on an exhale. So as you exhale, gently draw the belly button towards the spine, chin to the chest, and round the shoulder blades away from the spine, opening the back of the heart. And as you inhale, bring the shoulder blades towards the spine and open the heart towards the front of your mat. And as you exhale again, opening the back of the heart, rounding into your cat stretch. Inhale, stretching the front body as you open the heart forward. And exhale, round. Do 1 or 2 more with your own breath. Focusing on the shoulders and the upper back. And on your next inhale, coming back to that neutral table, walking the hands in and coming up. So we'll set up for our next restorative pose. And we want to make it restorative. So if the forehead easily reaches the floor, you don't need to use any props, but it's just nice to use props so that we can relax into it. We want to support the weight of the head. So you can stack it up as high as you want to support the head. We're going to come into Anahatasana, our melting heart pose. So it's similar to child's pose, but we keep the hips up in line with the knees. We're not sitting back. We're staying up, and then we're walking the hands forward because we're opening the front of the heart towards the floor. And then we're going to rest the forehead today. So again, wherever you need to prop up to rest the head comfortably. You might feel a stretch in the armpits, the front of the shoulders.
So, are we using our neck muscles? No, right?
No.
Okay, how am I supposed to?
You want to stay up on your arms, so your arms stay straight. You're just resting the head. So your weight is still in your arms.
Okay. Yeah.
So if we bend the arms, then we're not going to get that stretch in the armpits and the front of the chest that we want. So we want the arms to be straight. So if you need to, walk the hands forward more. And melt the heart towards the mat. We're not going to stay here as long as the other poses because we are holding a little bit. So we'll just take 3 breaths here. As much as you can on those exhales, melt the heart towards your mat. And then when you're ready to come out, slowly walk those hands under the shoulders, lift the head, sit back on the heels, move your props out of your way. So we're going to come into a seated position now. You're welcome to sit on your knees, sit cross-legged, and we're going to use a strap. Is there anybody that does not have a strap? going to face this way so that you can see. We're going to start with that strap over the right shoulder. Sitting nice and tall, lengthening the spine. You're going to inhale the right arm up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, bend the elbow, give yourself a pat on the back. Elbows towards the ceiling as much as you can, and you're going to find that strap over your shoulder. Then we're going to inhale the left arm out, palm towards the back. Exhale, bend the elbow. So left elbow towards the floor, and then find that strap behind you. Now I want you to think right scapula, so your right shoulder blade is out and up, and your left one is in and down. So we're slightly asymmetrical. You might feel like you're a little bit twisted to the left. Again, we're not going to hold as long here. 3 more breaths. Try to let the jaw and the throat be soft. On your next exhale, you can release the strap, unwind the arms, shake it out, roll the shoulders, and then we'll take that strap over the left shoulder. Sitting nice and tall again. Inhale the arm up, the left arm. Exhale, bend the elbow, elbow towards the ceiling, find the strap over the shoulder. Inhale the right arm out, palm towards the back. Exhale, bend the elbow, elbow towards the floor. Find the strap behind you. And then left scapula this time is out and up, and the right one is in and down. So now we might feel a little bit twisted to the right. We're working towards inching those fingers towards each other, and you might feel like one side was a lot closer than the other. Again, we're just going to stay here for 3 breaths. Not too long. Try to soften the throat and the jaw again. On your next exhale, release, unwind the arms, shake them out, roll the shoulders, and then you can move your strap off to the side. Move all of your props off of your mat. We're going to come into our prone position, so lying on our stomach. You can stack the hands to rest the forehead, or you can turn over to one cheek. Take the feet a comfortable distance apart, give the hips a little bit of a wiggle. So here we're going to focus on our diaphragmatic breath. So remembering that that diaphragm sits underneath the rib cage. So as you inhale, you're going to feel space underneath the center of the ribs, pressing into the mat. And as you exhale, you're going to feel that release. So you should feel the breath as you breathe in, pressing into the floor, into your mat. And as you exhale, there's that natural recoil. Remember, as we inhale, that diaphragm muscle contracts and moves down, which is what you're feeling. And it pulls the breath into the lungs. Then as you exhale, and the breath moves out of the lungs, the diaphragm muscle moves back up underneath the ribs. So just breathing in this manner, focusing on that movement of the diaphragm, actually strengthens our diaphragm muscle. Stay with the breath here. Start to invite that breath out again wide into the sides of the ribs, as if you could breathe out to the sides of the mat. If you have the head turned to one side, in the next breath or two, gently turn it over to the other side, just so that we're balancing out on both sides of the neck. And you're welcome to stay here. If you want to add on to this diaphragmatic breath, you can bend the knees, keeping the legs relaxed, and just let the bottom of the feet gently be towards the ceiling. And then continue to breathe. If that doesn't feel good for the lower back, just place those feet back on the floor. And we'll take 6 more breaths here now. At any time, if you have the feet lifted, you can place them back on the floor. We have about 3 more breaths. If you want extra time here, take a few more breaths. When you're ready, you can start to bring the hands under the shoulders. If you have the feet up still, you can let them release. And then when you're ready, bring yourself back up onto the hands and knees. We're going to stay on the hands and knees and come into thread the needle. You're welcome to use blocks or your bolster once again to rest your head on, like we did in our melting heart pose. If you get down there and you feel like you need a little bit more support, you can grab them. From our hands and knees, we're going to take our right arm up and out as we inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to thread that arm under, come down to the back of the shoulder, and then you can rest your head on a couple of blocks or all the way to the floor. Try to let that bottom arm relax and let the hand rest on the floor. And we won't spend as much time here again in this pose. So we're doing a little bit of work to hold ourselves up here. We'll just take 3 more breaths. You can focus that breath into the upper back, or anywhere that you feel sensation here. You can take the breath into that space and use it to stretch out that tight place in the body. As you exhale, feel the ribs wrap around the spine, helping you twist. And then using that left hand under the left shoulder, press it into the floor, and we'll inhale to come back up and out with that right arm, and exhale, bring it back to the floor. If you need to adjust, take a moment, and then when you're ready for the second side, inhale the left arm up and out, And exhale, thread it under, coming down to the back of the shoulder or as close as you can get it. Try to relax that left hand onto the floor, resting the head down wherever it's comfortable. Adjust your props if you need to. And just 3 cycles of breath here. Inhaling into any tight, sticky places. Stretching into those ribs, and as you exhale, once again, feeling those ribs wrap around the spine, gently twisting in that upper thoracic spine. Using that right hand under the right shoulder when you're ready, press it into the floor. Inhale the left arm back up and out. And exhale, release. Good. So the next one we'll set up a little bit more. So we'll spend a little bit more time there. Grab your bolster again. So we want the bolster vertical on our mat, and we're going to sit on one hip, whatever side you want to start on. Sitting on your left hip or your right hip. You can keep the knees kind of gently relaxed if you're really tight in the hips. If you want a little bit more of a stretch into the hips, you can kind of pinwheel the legs. So you have this 90-degree bend between the knees and the ankles. If you get down and you find that that's just too much, you can relax the legs and just let them bend naturally. We're going to sit up nice and tall on that hip that we're sitting on. And then as we exhale, we're going to gently turn towards our bolster and start to walk the hands down either side of the bolster. If you start to get down there and you're like, oh, I'm really tight, you can always grab some extra props. Prop yourself up to rest your head down. If you get down there and you don't feel very much sensation and you want to go deeper, you can lift the head and then turn over to the opposite cheek. So again, take a moment to adjust and kind of find which variation works for you. If you need more props, stack yourself up. Remember that we want to be able to relax and release into the pose. We want to feel a little bit of sensation, but we don't really want to be working for that sensation. We want to let gravity do all the work. We want to let our props hold our body. So don't worry about what it looks like. If you need to adjust the legs, adjust the legs. When you find your space again, find your breath. Use the inhales. Breathe into all those tight, sticky areas, the hips, the upper back. Wherever you need that extra bit of stretch, use the breath. Our inhale creates space in the body. The lungs fill up, all the other organs get pressed, and we get to create space just from breathing. As you exhale, turning on that parasympathetic nervous system, using it to become more relaxed. And the more you practice this breath, the more you can start to extend those exhales a little bit. Maybe the exhales start to become a little bit longer than the inhales. If you start to become distracted, start to count your breath cycles. See how far you can get before you lose count. 6 more cycles of breath here. Listen to your body. If you want to stay here longer, you're more than welcome to. When you feel you're ready to come out, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And slowly start to lift the body. Keep the legs where they are for a moment and then just turn gently towards the feet. Kind of unwinding the spine in the opposite direction. And then we'll come back to the front. From here, you can either roll over to your opposite hip, leave the bolster where it is, or you can move the bolster onto the other side. Sitting nice and tall on that hip. Again, think about where the legs are. If you had them kind of relaxed on the first side, keeping them relaxed. If you want to create a little bit more space in the hips, creating that 90-degree bend between the knees and the ankles. Sitting nice and tall, and as you exhale, starting to turn towards your bolster and walking the hands down either side. Maybe coming down to the same cheek or turning onto the opposite cheek. And you can always try out a variation, and if it doesn't work for you, go back to the variation that felt good. If you need to adjust the legs, find a place where you can be still for a moment that feels comfortable, but you still feel some sensation. And then find your breath here. Use those inhales to stretch. The body is relaxing, so use the breath. Use those exhales to release a little bit deeper. And imagine breathing out all those tight, sticky spots that are tense. Use the breath like a wave. So you can imagine the inhale moving into all these tight, rough edges in the body, washing over them, creating that space. And as you exhale, then wash away all that rough edges with the breath. Let them wash out of the body. welcome to stay here longer, but when you feel ready, take your time, walk the hands in, start to lift the head, the chest. Keep the legs as they are and just turn towards the feet, unwind the spine, again in the opposite direction, nice and slow. We're going to use our bolster one more time, so you can turn to look at your bolster and turn it horizontally once again. So we're not going to stay here very long in this. This is more just our thoracic mobility test. You're going to sit on your sit bones, and we're going to take the bolster underneath the back of the shoulder blades. So you're going to lie back. Bend the elbows over top of the bolster and then release the head towards the floor. You can keep the knees bent or the legs straight. Now if the head doesn't easily touch the floor, that means that we need to do a little bit more work on opening that upper back. So that's your test. That's how you know if you need to do a little bit more work in that upper back. If the head doesn't touch, then we need to do some more heart openers.
Okay.
You don't have to stay here. If it feels really good, you can. But when you're ready, you can roll over to one side. Come off of that bolster. Do any last little bit of moving that you feel like you need to do in the body. If there's anything that the body's craving, if you need to do some more cat-cows, a down dog, if you want to just lie on your back and hug your knees into your chest, or do some windshield wipers, whatever you feel like you need to do. If anybody has any questions, you can let me know. We're going to get ready for Shavasana and our meditation. But if there's any little bit of moving that you need to do first, take a moment.